Huzzah, and welcome, future and current artists, to another episode of Drawing with Dr. Doodle. Well, before we begin, you're only going to need 2 items. Hopefully you have these, a piece of paper and a pencil. Now, if you want to color your work in when we're done and you have a crayon or a colored pencil or markers, you can color it in when we finish today. However, if you don't have those supplies right now, you can always wait to color your work in when you get those supplies. So you know what? Let's begin. Hello, and welcome. Today we will be drawing still lifes, or still lifes. They are things that you draw from reality, things that do not move, that's why they're still. And so, or they can move like very, very little amounts, so that way you can draw them. As you can see here, I'm about to draw something that I saw on my floor, my shoes, a chest, a backpack, and the bottom of my computer chair. And what I want all of you to do, though, is not to copy my drawing. I want you to find up to 5 objects that you can lay in front of you on the floor or on a table or a desk and attempt to draw them from looking at them. Yes, I know this sounds like it might be really hard, but it's not hard, it's challenging. It involves different sets of skills than drawing from a picture, a flat image. So instead of copying mine, please try to draw your own. And as you can see here, I'm laying out I'm doing what's called a rough sketch. I'm laying out where all the objects are going to be, even some of the details, and then I'm going to trace over it. Since I'm using my iPad Pro, a digital device, it's a lot easier for me. If you are using a piece of paper and a pencil, just draw lightly, or you can trace over your initial rough sketch or initial drawing. So every artist should have a drawing of shoes of some kind. So if you don't have one already, maybe that's 2 of your 5 objects that you will draw. So here's a very simple way to make drawing from real life a little bit easier. You will need to take a lot of time looking back and forth. What I mean by that is very simple. You'll have to look at the object that you want to draw and then look back down at your drawing materials, paper or digital device, and begin drawing one simple line. Do not worry. Do not think that you can draw the whole thing. As you can see here, I am drawing each part, each detail of the shoe, step by step, because I am looking back and forth. And here's another thing to make sure that you don't get too frustrated. You're not going to be able to do this the first time that you attempt this. Especially if you are a lot younger, this might be one of your first drawings from real life. And if that's the case, this is practice for you. So don't worry if you make a mistake. If you're using a pencil and you're drawing lightly, you'll be able to erase those mistakes. So as you can see, I'm not only doing details on my New Balance shoes, I'm adding some shadows as well. Again, take your time, draw what you see, not what you know it looks like. So in the case of the shoe on the right, you'll see that the front is not facing us. So we're not going to see every part of the front of this shoe, nor should we. This is called not just drawing from reality or a still life, but this is a form of foreshortening. Now, make sure that if you are having trouble with what you're drawing, that you don't get too frustrated. You don't need to draw it in one sitting. As long as you either can make sure that the objects in your still life will still be there in the same spot when you come back to drawing it, you can stop. Or if you're worried about that, you may take a picture of your still life so that way you can work from it if your objects are moved for whatever reason, or if you just need to move the objects. If they're your shoes and you need to wear them, then I understand. So as you can see, I'm building up all the lines. I am taking my time, adding shadows, adding more details back and forth. Again, it's back and forth. So look at the object, look down at your paper, draw a little bit from what you remember, look back at the object, look back at your paper, draw a little bit more. Because of this, it's not going to be perfect. That's why you need to practice. There are some people who are innately talented and have an innate, amazing memory. It's called photographic memory, and they can look at something and they could then draw that thing without having to look at it again. You might not be that case because that's very rare. There is one artist who can look at cities, and he can take one look at a city landscape, one view of a city, and then he can draw in every detail. But he is very special. He's very rare artist, and so that's not going to most likely be the case with you. It's definitely not the case for myself. Being human doesn't mean that you can be like a computer or a robot. So don't worry. It's all about taking time. And that's the true thing with regards to art. The best way to get better, the best way to practice is to constantly practice whatever art that you want to do to get better. So if you want to be a better watercolor painter, the more you paint with watercolors, the better you will be, the better your work will get, and you'll understand innately how to move your hand in such a way with the paintbrush that it will look better than when you first started. Same thing with drawing. The more you draw, especially the more you draw things that you're not good at, the better you'll get at those things that you're not good at. If you are comfortable, let's say, drawing Japanese anime characters, then so as you can see, we're about to finish, but what I just wanted to say was just that the more you draw things that you're comfortable at, the less you'll get better at the things that you're not comfortable at. So I hope that you made something really nice, and you can let's take a puzzle break right now. As an artist, it's a good idea to take a break from your work. Taking a break allows us to look at our work with fresh eyes and possibly with some new ideas. So that's why we're going to take a puzzle break. And what type of puzzles are we going to do on Drawing with Dr. Doodle? Well, we're going to tackle puzzles that I love to do. They're called Rebus Puzzles. Rebus is spelled R-E-B-U-S. And what is a Rebus puzzle? Well, I'm glad you asked. Behind me is an example of just one, and we're going to walk through the solution to this puzzle right now. So what word do you see behind me? Well, take your time. If you guessed the word behind me is hurry, then you're half right. What direction is the word hurry going in? Well, take some more time to solve that. Well, if you guess that the word hurry is going up, then you have half of the solution as well. So let's combine the two half answers or half solutions that we solved together. Hurry, so we've got the word hurry, and the word hurry is going up. And if you heard me just say that and it clicked in your head that the answer is hurry up, then you have solved this rebus. So with that out of the way, why don't you try to solve this puzzle by yourself, but you don't need to hurry up to solve this puzzle. Take your time, and if you get your parents' permission, you can email the solution to thedoodledoctor@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the lesson. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed today's puzzle. And as you can see here, while we're not going to be coloring, or I'm not going to be coloring in my still life here, this is actually a portrait and still life. This is a drawing of my grandfather at my parents' dining room table. And this was actually drawn from one dinner that we had a while back. And so what I would like you to do for your next drawing is not to draw my grandfather and my parents' dining room table, but to draw a family member, whoever it is that you want. Attempt to try to draw them at a table of any kind or a desk. and take your time. And again, just like with the still life before, if you're worried that you're not going to be able to finish in time and your parents are going to want to move or get up, or whoever it is that you're drawing is going to move and get up, then take a picture so that way you can draw from that picture later on. But again, just like with the drawing that I did of my shoes and the objects on my floor, you're going to want to take your time, look back and forth, and you're going, especially when you're drawing another person, which is very hard to do, to get it to look exactly like that person, so that's not going to happen, but to get it close to looking like that person, it's a lot of practice, and it's a lot of looking back and forth. So look at the person, look back down at your paper, draw one line or maybe two, and then look back at the person, and you keep on doing that. Now, I'll tell you a secret. The way that I got better at this was that starting in middle school, so my middle school started in 6th grade. So 6th grade onward, I was taking classes in human figure drawing, meaning that I was drawing people. So their faces, their clothes, just drawing the human figure. And you could do this without taking classes. You can look at yourself in the mirror, you can look at your family members, you can look at friends, and you could attempt to draw them. And so the more you draw, the better you'll get, especially the human figure, which is the hands and the feet give a lot of young artists a hard time. And that's why it's important to constantly look at how things look, break it down into basic shapes or lines, and then you add the details when you're done. Don't try to draw everything in one go. After you're done drawing your family member or whoever it is that you're drawing, even yourself, maybe in the mirror, you'll want to draw the table and then the things that are on the table. So I would suggest putting down 4 to 5, maybe even more, objects on the table that you're going to draw and attempt to draw them. And if you get motivated to or want to, you can color your work in. In this case, I am not going to be coloring this in because I was doing this after we finished eating, and I just wanted to quickly draw and practice my drawing, actually. And so it was really a quick drawing for me, a quick practice. And when I say quick, it was maybe 10 to 20 minutes. But if you haven't been practicing drawing, or if you're a lot younger than me, and I'm 36, going on to 37 next year, then yours might not be as look as realistic as the thing that you're trying to draw, and that's okay. That's why you're practicing right now. So you'll take your time, draw out as much as you can, and things aren't going to look exactly like how they're laid out. And I know from thinking back to when I first drew this, it doesn't look exactly how it was laid out. It was very close. And that's the other thing too. We have 2 eyes, and so each eye is bringing in information from what it sees into the brain, and so it's seeing things at different angles, and it combines that into the brain into just one view. So if you move your head or while you're drawing, or if you shift just a little bit, or somebody moves just a little bit while you're trying to draw them, it's going to change how your image looks, how your picture or still life looks. So I hope that you draw your own picture. I can't wait to see what it is that you decided to draw for this one, and also the other one, what objects you decided to draw. I hope that you'll share those possibly with me, or just enjoy them yourself and just continue practicing. And as you can see, I'm drawing the chair now behind my grandfather. It's very important, if you want to make your drawings not look flat, to add the details that are also behind the main focus of your drawing. So in this case, the chairs, the table, and the mirror that's behind my parents' dining room table. By adding a background, you not only make this look more three-dimensional, It also looks more realistic, and more detail allows your brain to try to, it makes it more dynamic. It makes it more interesting for yourself and for those who are looking at your art.
Now it's time for me, Harold, the extremely talented art critic, to critique your artwork.
Wait, what?
Don't
I didn't
worry,
agree
Dr.
to this.
D. I won't be too harsh.
Why, thank you. What?
Okay,
Wait.
fellow art detectives, let's get critiquing. What do you see? What do you think is happening in this artwork? What materials do you think the artist used to make this artwork? Does this remind you of anything? What questions do you have about the artwork? Pretend you can enter into the artwork. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? What piece of the artwork is your favorite, and why? If you could change one thing about this artwork, what would you change? How does this artwork make you feel? Can you explain why? If you had to describe this artwork to a friend, what kind of words would you use? So, Dr. D, was that so hard now?
It wasn't hard at all, Harold. Thank you.
Is how hard I will critique him next time. Until next time, future and current artists, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed creating art with me and that I've inspired you to create as imaginative artwork in the future. If you'd like to have your work displayed on a future episode, obviously you need your parents' permission, but once you get it, you can email your artwork at thedoodledoctor@gmail.com. Well, bye!